This is my first video I've done since being released. This is my first video I've done since being released. And I want to make it to address Ukip's NEC. I've seen in the media there's a big debate now on whether Tommy Robinson, myself, will be allowed to join Ukip. And actually the NEC are going to make a decision on Sunday, not on whether I'm allowed to join, but whether they're going to let their members make that decision. They're basically saying, do they trust their members to make their own decision? Do they believe in the democracy in their own party? Or will the 12 members of the NEC, I believe it's 12, make a decision that they don't trust their own supporters? That they'll make a decision, like the establishment do, to tell everyone how they can think. Now, Ukip have the opportunity to electrify this country's working class. I've seen people make comments that, oh, if Tommy Robinson joined Ukip, they might lose 2,000 members. You might gain 20,000. You might cause a political revolution in Britain. We have sat for too long, and we get excited in this country. Sweden's elections are coming up. We get excited about watching the election in Sweden. The Swedish Democrats, good luck to you. Hand on heart, we want the best for Sweden. May get 30% of the vote. We get excited about the Italian election. It's about time the British public had a party they can get excited about. And I applaud Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage concentrated on Brexit, and he deserves the applause for bringing us Brexit. But Nigel wasn't prepared to talk about Islam. And maybe because he didn't want to drain himself, and he didn't want the accusations and the problems it will bring. And he wanted to concentrate on his focus, which was Brexit, and well done for that. But please don't try and condemn other people who are brave enough to challenge this. I've watched and I've met Gerard Batten. And I want to say a thank you to Ukip, to Gerard Batten, for speaking up on my behalf, for reaching out to the people of this country, for going and mixing it with the general people on the street in this country. I've stood and I listened to Gerard Batten, and that is the only politician I've watched and I've listened to that would make me get up and vote. I would join Ukip, but I find it amazing that the NEC could make a decision themselves that would prevent their own members from making their own decision on their party. So on Sunday, working class communities across this country, the name Tommy Robinson, it's become a symbol. It's become far more than me. The Free Tommy movement was not about me. It was about the British public. It was about people all over the world who feel oppressed, who feel they're being dictated to, who feel they don't have a voice. Now a movement has been created to give those people a voice. On Sunday, the NEC of Ukip, you have a choice to make. Do you represent that feeling, or do you crush it? This isn't actually about Tommy Robinson, me personally. This is about whether you're willing to take up that movement, willing to politicise that movement, and willing to give people in this country a voice against the wrongs that we know are happening, a voice to challenge the establishment.
This is a breaking news alert.
Well, if you thought the Kavanaugh hearings had fireworks yesterday, no. No one anticipated Alex Jones showing up at Capitol Hill. Yes, he crashed the hearing there, the last person that they ever wanted to face off with. And Rubio, this is great, Rubio actually threatened him. Jim Hoff for the Gateway Pundit reports that Alex Jones crashed the Senate intelligence hearings on foreign influence on U.S. social media platforms. The U.S. House held the hearings today on tech giant censorship of conservative voices. And during the break, Alex Jones caught up with Marco Rubio, who was hosting a press gaggle. He asked the senator about social media censorship of conservatives, and then it got heated to the point where Rubio actually threatened him with physical violence. Take a look.
And thousands of us.
Senator Rubio, should this mad gentleman be able to... Alex Jones, should he be able to testify?
Seriously, do I have a First Amendment? Because you know about authoritarian regimes. They're lying about me and they're trying to deplatform me. 26 companies working in concert, violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. Now, to keep this Senator Warner and Senator Wyden have said, quote, there's thousands of sites worse than Alex Jones. So we're becoming like Cuba, we're becoming like Vietnam, we're becoming like China. So regardless of what people think about me or the straw man, should I have a First Amendment, or should these companies be able to violate the whole Safe Harbor Act and all that, and then ban conservatives en masse?
I don't know anything about your site, man.
No, about the First Amendment.
Yeah, I support the First Amendment. I just ask questions about it.
I know. You were the only one that brought up China. Are you aware? Are you aware of the deplatforming going on?
In China?
No, here. Big tech companies are purging conservatives. They're shadow banning people in mass.
Yeah, well, my broader concern is that what we are trying to do in terms of preventing foreign interference in our elections.
That I don't exist.
You're not familiar with
I just don't know who you are,
InfoWars?
man. I don't read
sure,
websites.
sure. And they demonized me in these very hearings, and then he plays dumb.
Here's the question.
Infowars.com, you know what it is.
Do you
Full
think
well.
that just Google, does Facebook, does
That's why you didn't get elected.
Twitter, do they need to be
You're
regulated
snake
like do they need to be regulated?
Marco Rubio the snake. Little frat boy here.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, who are you?
Yeah, sure.
I swear to God, I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
better
who
hope you
are,
can
man.
deplatform me. Tens of millions of views.
InfoWars.
Better than Rush Limbaugh. He knows who InfoWars is.
but
Playing
you-
this joke over here. That's why the deplatforming didn't work.
But here's a question. Here's a question.
Don't touch me again, man. I'm asking you not to touch me.
Well, sure, I just patted you nicely.
I know, but I don't want to be. I don't know.
Oh, you want me to get
man. I don't
arrested?
know who you are.
It's not just going to
You're
take
not
my
gonna
First
get arrested,
Amendment.
man.
It's not just enough to take my
I'll
First
care of
Amendment.
myself.
Oh, they'll beat me up.
Did you just?
I didn't say
Neither
that.
do I am, but he's so mad. You're not going to silence me. You're not going to silence America.
But there are
You are literally like a little gangster thug.
there are people in this country who
Rubio
feel
just threatened to physically take care of me.
there are people who
Look at
feel
that.
that they're being
We already got rid of my First
being
Amendment.
silenced. They-
Broad to crack down on free speech because
I wonder why Rubio got so mad at me. and
there's
threatened me
there's a
physically.
balance between what is free speech and what people disagree on.
Poor Rubio.
I'm sorry, we gotta
Yeah, I gotta go to the committee.
Exactly.
You guys can talk to this clown.
Oh, yeah. Look at this little frat boy. So cool. Go back to your bathhouse.
That was absolutely epic. Marco Rubio is a snake. Go back to your bathhouse. Oh, man, Alex. God bless you, man. In August, Facebook, Apple, Google, YouTube, and Spotify all colluded to eliminate Alex and his websites and staffers from their platforms. Alex Jones confronted his accusers to their faces after the deplatforming of his media company. Now, according to the Associated Press, they were there. They captured Alex's press conference, where he went off on the liberal bias, the lies, the censorship, and collusion of the tech giants against conservatives. Take a look.
I am here because there is a concerted effort by the Democratic Party and multinational corporations and big tech to silence conservative and nationalist and populist voices ahead of this critical midterm election. And the big tech companies and the head of Apple admit that they met with Senator Warner, who's running this whole thing, to begin shutting down conservatives, or the Democrats threatened to federalize big tech if they did not basically roll over to them. So the Republicans left a vacuum there by not coming in with regulations to say you cannot violate people's free speech. So I want regulations like the First Amendment to be enforced to say you're not going to violate people's free speech. You're not going to be able to shut people down like this. And I'm also here to be able to face my accusers. This is the 11th hearing they've had where they make up all these incredible lies about me and others to sell the end of the First Amendment. It's happening to everybody now who's a libertarian or conservative. The dominoes are falling. The First Amendment's being destroyed. But I think the corporate dying dinosaur media has bit off more than it can chew. And what you've done is only going to make people be that much stronger and fight for free speech that much more. But I'll say this, shame on the mainstream corporate media, shame on the mainstream corporate media for not defending the First Amendment, but instead attack dogging, calling for federal regulators to shut down independent free press working with big tech. These big monopolies need to be broken up. And these are digital commons, they've said in their own words, and under federal law, and they shouldn't be in there controlling what individuals are saying in those private discussions and in those discussions online if it's not criminal what's being said and what's being done.
And Alex is 100% correct. These platforms are now the de facto public squares, and they're monopolies that need to be broken up and held to account. I mean, how many times did Dorsey say, we're a public square, a public square, a public square? If you're a public square, guess what? Now the Constitution applies to you. The First Amendment applies to you. Okay, no more trying to manipulate news feeds to facilitate healthy discussion. Now, CNBC, they captured another angle of the press conference where Alex drew frightening parallels to communist China and the progressive liberals in big tech and what they're doing to free speech. Take a look.
This is the 11th hearing that they've had in the last year and a half where I'm one of the main focuses, and I have not ever been called to testify when they say outrageous, slanderous, defamatory things when they've had in the House Intelligence Committee, Senate Intelligence Committee, and others. They'll have people point blank from the CIA, you name it, who are leftist, say Alex Jones works for the Russians. That is an outrageous lie beyond Joseph McCarthy, anything he ever did. But when McCarthy did it, the people got to come in and got to confront the committee and say, you have no decency. How dare you act like this? This is 100 times worse than anything Joseph McCarthy ever did, and it's a shame.
So, Mr. Jones, this morning's hearing is specifically about preventing election manipulation. This afternoon's hearing is...
Sure, yeah. But every time they have these meetings, they bring up InfoWars. They claim they're taking InfoWars down to stop election meddling. Obama established